All right. So in this video, first of all, I'm gonna talk about some extra very popular operators in the C language, which I have not covered before. And the first operator is basically the plus plus operator. So here, first of all, I'm gonna create a variable a. I'm gonna put in the value 4. Then if I print, it prints 4. Now, if I use a plus plus and then semicolon, so that's a plus plus, and then I compile and run, as you can see, it became 5. Okay, so the plus plus after the variable will increment its value by 1. Okay, so 4 becomes 5. If it was 5, it becomes 6. If it was 6, it becomes 7, and so on. Now, I can use plus plus a, and it will do the exact same thing. There's a minor difference that I will mention in a bit, but basically both of them will increment the variable by 1. Now there's also the operator minus minus, and then when I compile and run, it becomes 3. When we print a, it's 3. So we increment the value by 1, and the same thing with minus minus and then the variable name, and it also decrements the value by 1. But there's a minor difference, as I said earlier, and I'm gonna mention that in a bit. So the difference here, what's the difference between a plus plus and plus plus a? Well, basically, when we, for example, try to print a plus plus here, inside the printf function, and then we print, it prints 4, even though we use the plus plus operator. While if we use the plus plus and then a, it became 5, right? So basically, if you use the plus plus operator before the variable name, then it will add 1 to its value. It will increment it by 1, and then considers it. So this a here equals 4. We add 1 to the 4, it becomes 5, and then we use that value inside the printf. Well, if we use the plus plus after the a, then we use the value of a inside the printf, and then later we increment 1. We increment a by 1, we add 1 to its value. So that's the difference. One is called post increment and the other one is called pre-increment. So plus plus a is pre-increment because it increments the value before using its results, and the a plus plus is post increment because it uses the value and then it increments it by 1. So basically that's the difference between them. Now there are another family of operators. We call them the relational operators. They're called the relational operators because they make a relationship between values. Okay, so if I take, for example, a equals 4 bigger than 5. Okay, 4 bigger than 5. So this is the expression here. 4 is bigger than 5. Is that true? Well, it's not true. The result of this comparison could be either true or false. True is 1 and false is 0. So since this is false, 4 is not bigger than 5, then this will return false. It will return 0. So that 0 will be stored at a. And if we try to print, as you can see, that's false. That's 0. Now if we put in a true expression like 4 is less than 5, and we put that into a, and we try to print, it prints 1. Means true. Yes, 5 it's bigger than 4. We all know that. So there's the bigger and the less than comparison signs you can use to compare two values, two variables, two numbers, whatever, two quantities together. There's the equals operator. Okay, there's the equal operators. The equal operators means we're comparing whether 4 equals to 5 or not. So this expression here returns true or false. If 4 is really equal to 5, then it will return true, it will return 1. Otherwise, it will return 0. So in this case, it will return 0 because 4 is not equal. It is not equal to 5. So let's print that, and as you can see, that's false. That's 0. Now, if we make like a true expression, like a 5 equals 5, that will equal 1. Yes, 5 is equal to 5. So whenever we want to compare two variables and see if they're equal, we just put in the first variable, equals, and then the second variable. If that returns 1, or if that returns something that is not 0, then that is true, they're equal. Otherwise, they're not. So if we want to compare if 5 is not equal to 5, we use this operator. So this is the opposite of the equal sign, meaning that 5 does not equal to 5. Or let's say 4 does not equal to 5. Yes, 4 does not equal to 5. So this will return true. They're not equal. So A will contain true. It will contain 1. So if I try to print it out, it will be 1. Yes, they're not equal. If we put in, for example, two quantities that are equal, 5 and 5, 5, is it different from 5? No, it's not different, they're equal. So A will have false, and that's 0. So there's also the bigger or equals sign. So 5, is it bigger or equal to 5? Yes, it is. And that's 1. And there's also the operator less than or equal. 5, is it less than or equals to 5? Yeah, it is. Okay. Notice you can always replace these values, these constant here, with your variable. Okay. So in more complicated programs, we're not going to be like comparing constants together. We're going to be comparing variables. Okay. So these are called the relational operators because they compare values together. They compare variables together. Now there's also another type of operators. They're called the logical operators. The logical operators are something like this. For example, I don't know, like A is bigger than, or let's say 5 is bigger than 4, and 5 is bigger than 3, for example. So this 5 bigger than 4, this will return true, right? And this 5 is bigger than 3, this will return true. Yes, 5 is bigger than 3. Now, if you want to say this is true and this is true, the word and that I've been using will be written like this. These two symbols here. So this and this. So this will return true if both of them are true. So if this is true and this is true, then the combination of them will also be true. So if I try to run that and that prints true, that's 1, that's true. So if I make, like, for example, 5 is equals to 3 here, so this one is true, but this one is false. So true and false will give you false. Okay, so that's 0. So false and false will give you false. False and true will give you false. True and false will give you false, and true will give you true. So both of them have to be true in order for the result to be true. So that's the first operator. It's the AND operator. It's called the logical operator. There's another operator called the OR operator, and it's like this. So this is true, or this is true. So if one of them is true, we don't care about the rest. we just need one, okay? So 5 is equal to 3, no, that's not true, but 5 is bigger than 4. So this is true, we don't care about the rest, the result is true. So if I try to print the result, you can see that's true, okay? So true or true will give you true, true or false will give you false, false or true, true or false will give you true, and false or true will give you false, and false or false will give you false. So for A to be false, both of them has to be false, okay? And there's finally the not operator, the not. So the not operator is basically that exclamation mark. I'm gonna remove that. So 5 equals 3, we're checking for the not, we're checking for the opposite of this. So if 5 equals 3 gives false, then its not becomes true, okay? This is just like as if we're saying 5 is equals to 3 is a false sentence, right? And the answer is yes. 5 equals 3 is a false sentence. So that's why A will contain true. Yes, 5 equals 3 is wrong, is false sentence. That's what the exclamation marks mean. So the and, the or, and the not are the basic 3 operators that we are gonna need for this tutorial. There are more like complicated tutorials, more complicated operators, logical operators that works on bits and stuff like that, but we're gonna cover them later because we're not gonna use them in the tutorial for now. But just know that they do exist, okay? They do exist. There's the and, there's the or, there's the shifting operators, there's the bitwise operations, and so on. So see you in the next video.